got into that big feud for a while. And Howard Finkel went up to him and started pointing in his face, and then Ken Shamrock tried to break his finger. I mean, that was pure gold entertainment. I enjoyed that so much, that angle.
Hey, we never want to see these guys retire or leave from the ring. So anytime we can add Chris Jericho or, Brock Lesnar or any of these guys that are part-timers, anytime they come to stay, we usually enjoy it as long as they're not in probably the major picture of the storylines where you can have someone who hasn't gotten the push yet put up there. But, to have him fight AJ Styles for the third time, are you interested in seeing that at Fastlane? Or are you interested in seeing them go one more time?
I mean, maybe if you made a stipulation, maybe it'd be like a steel cage match or maybe pink slip match or something like that. But I know that's not going to happen. But they're both technical wrestlers, so yes, it would be entertaining to watch. So I would watch it again. I feel like that's one of the top matches on that whole card.
Now, you mentioned the Big Show, who is in a feud right now with the Wyatt family. They ended Monday Night Raw, which I found surprising, especially after ending Raw the week before with the whole Daniel Bryan situation, and the ratings were so high. Mm-hmm. How do you sell to the fan base the Big Show against Braun Strowman as your main event?
That's tough. I mean, when the main event came on, I don't even know why these two guys were the main event. I mean, you could have done so much more with the main event, but I guess the writers decided this is how they wanted to do it, and then because after this whole match, then they added a 6-man tag, I believe. So,
it's to the Fastlane pay-per-view, which we'll get into a little later. But as you know, the Wyatt family were beating down the Big Show, and out comes Ryback to try to help. Then he starts getting beaten down. Then Kane comes out, and that's it. I feel like the Wyatt family have been. These are the only 3 guys the Wyatt family can get over, and it's to the point where when you hear a Wyatt promo against these guys, it's like, I know.
I'm to the point with the Wyatt family. Like, when are you going to win something? When is somebody going to get some gold? When are you going to give them the tag titles? When are you going to make them these actual big monsters and have Bray Wyatt just like this fearful character? Maybe actually get a title push. Even start him off with the IC title.
I'm already past the point of him fighting Brock Lesnar or one of them fighting Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I'm past that point. Seeing how they've handled the whole situation and seeing how they handled it at Royal Rumble, and then the next night on Raw, nothing happened. Mm-hmm. I'm past that point. I don't even want to see it now. And the fact that you put Bray Wyatt in with a Brock Lesnar and he gets beat again for the 3rd straight WrestleMania after doing all this trash talking and all that stuff, I don't want to see it. I think that now we're to a point with the Wyatt family where they need a face turn and they need to feud with the Authority.
I would agree with you 100%.
Or you know what? Don't even make them a face. Make them in-betweeners. Make them like how Stone Cold was. I mean, not the character, but just make them where they beat up both good guys, bad guys. They're just against the Authority or something.
And we kind of saw that when he and Triple H had the stare down at the Royal Rumble. We kind of were like, oh, what's going to happen? Is this a preview of a future feud between the two of them? And then our bubbles got burst, and no, it's not. They go back to feuding with Kane again after he comes out of the ring, from underneath the ring for like the 100th time at a Monday Night Raw. After that, you're like, wow, this has been done already. How many times more can we watch this?
Yeah, I really don't know. They're just certain wrestlers, you just don't know where they're sending them. They've had so much potential for so long. And it's just like, now's the time to see how far you can take them. Now's the time with all these injuries. You can push the Wyatt family. You can push a Dolph Ziggler. But they're just not doing it. They're not pushing these stars. And the one guy that's getting the push, and deservedly so, is Kevin Owens. Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens goes on Monday Night Raw and reclaims the Intercontinental title. And what was it, a 5-way type a 5-way match that Stephanie announced against for Dean Ambrose. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Owens comes back. He wins the Intercontinental Champion, and he's going to be heading into strong. Whichever direction you put him in, he's going to be heading strong into WrestleMania for sure, unless they have him drop to Ziggler.
But I think that would be actually a good feud to watch, him and Ziggler. But
they've done it for so long.
They have. I mean, I could see what they really should do, and we know that probably won't happen, but have maybe AJ Styles and him, Kevin Owens, go into a feud for the IC title. That would be awesome to watch. I know that would make great TV. That would make a great match in the pay-per-view. And it's two good technical wrestlers that are willing to do these moves that are unbelievable. Kevin Owens, for how much he weighs, he can move around in that ring. And another one that comes to mind that has the same build is Samoa Joe. He does the same thing. He can do moves left and right. And we're seeing these guys, why not use them to their full advantage, full potential, and have them have a match? That could steal the show. Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles for WrestleMania, that could actually steal the show and make me interested to watch it.
I think what they need to do is, with AJ Styles, is he needs to be set up in the U.S. title picture right now with either Kalisto or Alberto Del Rio. I think either combination of those guys with AJ Styles will make a great match. It's a great way to jumpstart AJ Styles because the U.S. title is not as important as the Intercontinental title, and it's getting up there. And they need to bring Sami Zayn up here to feud with Kevin Owens and let the people, especially at WrestleMania, see what magic these two guys can put in the ring.
Yeah, and if they don't, it's gonna be a bust for
right
WrestleMania.
Right now, Sami Zayn is feuding with Samoa Joe to see who's going to be the number one contender for Finn Balor's NXT title, and it's been going back and forth. Another false finish that they had last night on NXT, and I just see. I mean, I guess it would be nice to see Finn Balor against Sami Zayn getting into the night before WrestleMania, but it's way better to give it to Samoa Joe, who's been at it for so long and has wrestled for so long, and to finally bring Sami Zayn, who's worked so hard, to the main roster.
Well, do you think Finn Balor will move up? Because
he's been injured, and what I've heard,
he still has that ankle injury.
Yeah, he still has the ankle injury, and what I've heard is they're kind of centering NXT around him. He's kind of the face. He's the John Cena right now, if you will, of NXT. So, and I'm not talking about wrestling skills. I'm just talking as, I guess the poster boy of NXT, if you want to put it like that. And I think they're going to keep him down there just a little while longer, just until I guess you can build a Nakamura up whenever he debuts, or Austin Aries. You got guys there that you can center the NXT around. That's what's so good about having all those players in there. But you can. There's so many ways to go with the undercard. I think we don't have to worry about the undercard at WrestleMania. I think it's the main matches is what we're going to get concerned about. And I was just reading earlier today that there is a match in place for The Undertaker, and that his opponent is not currently on the main roster.
I saw that as well. And it kind of just is like, after a while, how many times can you see The Undertaker? After the whole streak ended, I feel like my Undertaker interest kind of like fizzled out. I have really no interest to see him on the WrestleMania card because he comes once a year. Half the time he's not even there. He'll cut promos. They'll show him on the screen. Maybe one Raw, he'll show up. The smoke and all will come, and then he'll do some moves, maybe tombstone whoever he's taking on, and then after that, we don't see him until WrestleMania, and then he just vanishes. He's gone after WrestleMania's done. It just leaves the storyline just poof, like you don't know what happens. Anything was possible at the end, but so many unanswered questions when it comes to Undertaker and his storylines of WrestleMania.
Yeah, and you have a point there. How much further can you take The Undertaker? Because the whole basis of The Undertaker at WrestleMania was the streak. And once you broke the streak, now what is there to it?
Not much.
I mean, the only thing I can think they can do is this will be his last match. If they push something like that, a retirement match or something like that.
But if they have it as his last match, and we both read about, I don't know if you read the same thing I read, but I heard about Sting being the possible candidate. So you're going to have Sting lose his third WWE, well, fourth, I should say. He won one on Raw, but then he lost at Night of Champions. He lost at WrestleMania last year. So you're going to have him lose again after he came in and signed this contract with WWE and not even have him win anything? No matches?
What if The Undertaker loses to Sting?
I mean, that would be interesting, but you know damn well Vince isn't going to let his original creepy character lose to WCW's old creepy character with Sting. You know damn well it won't go down. Because Vince, for some reason, even though he's bought WCW, they've been out of business since when? 2001? He still has to take that knife and dig it a little more in the back of Ted Turner and all AOL Time Warner. It's been done. Like, the Monday Night Wars are over, finished. You won. You won the battle, man. You have the whole library on the WWE Network. You have the ECW pay-per-views, and now you have the ECW Hardcore TV from TNN on your network. You are the king of sports entertainment. What more do you need to put over Sting? Give him a match to win. I'm sorry, I'm getting very emotional about this.
I see you're getting very emotional. And with all that's what makes a wrestling fan right there. And if you're being sold on WrestleMania this year and The Undertaker being in it with all the roster that you know that's going on right now and who they have right now, who sells you to fight The Undertaker?
Nobody right now.
So you are, and I know a lot of fans that are okay with The Undertaker not being at WrestleMania.
I'm one of them.
But it's in his home state.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have The Undertaker there.
But who would you have?
That's what I'm asking you.
I don't know, because the one person I thought was going to have a great match, and then he ended up losing, was Bray Wyatt. I thought he would win, and the torch would be passed to the dead man, to this new face of fear. But they dropped the ball on that one as well. So now who do? You're going to bring The Rock back and have him take on The Undertaker? You're going to do Triple H versus The Undertaker?
It's a good question.
You're going to have Ric Flair? Oh, hey, Rick, I know you're retired. You're in the Hall of Fame. But you know what? We really need you. You want to put on your tights and come out for one last match? It's going to be in Texas. Big venue.
Well,
Ric Flair will be like, woo, I'm in.
Whoever it is, they're going to have, little over a month to plan a story.
Yeah, and how are you going to plan a story? That's the one thing that just drives me insane with the WWE lately, is like these storylines just come out of nowhere, and then they just stop abruptly, and they don't finish it off. They don't say, oh, well, this happened. No, they juggle all these characters around, and then they throw them in, and then you have somebody who's a part-time wrestler come in for a month, do a storyline, win or lose, and then they just vanish again. And you're just like, wait a minute. What just happened here? What am I watching? And we've talked about it before. I feel like ever since the whole network, with the WWE Network, it's like they watered down their storylines a little bit more. They've watered down their pay-per-views a little bit. And it's just it's frustrating as a fan. Because you remember the build-up to these big storylines with Austin and The Rock, and then you had, when the whole Austin McMahon regime was going on, you had Vince be the guy who was the leader of the corporate ministry when he unveiled his hood. That was like, oh my God, jaw-dropping moments. Now it's just like, what are we watching here?
Well, this could not have happened. I mean, I know WWE says these injuries could not have happened at a worse time. I think it could not have happened at a greater time.
I agree.
Because now we are going to see what the WWE is made of, how they are going to sell everyone on maybe the biggest attendance record break